War Master had the tight pants on. Controversy surrounds. I don't know how I feel about watching it. I don't know how I feel, Raph, which means it's time for Verbal Tap, the show that proves fighting is way easier from outside of the weird dark barn of Metamoris somewhere, wherever it
Wherever it
exists.
is, in a bunker somewhere.
Verbal Tap, I am your host, Kevin. With me, of course, Raph Esparza. Raph, how are you doing this evening?
Hey, I'm good. So, Kev, tell me, what are your feelings? You mentioned not knowing how to feel about this.
That's just how it is. It's like there are some really great people that are in the event that I wanted to support, but I hated the comments that were made. And frankly, like if we're just now being, so that's the controversy surrounds. I'm very torn on it. But also, I was just like, I overall did not love it.
Okay.
I thought Jeff Glover got my 1.
Okay.
Bass Rutten got my plus 70. Bass Rutten can, as I will, I would like to just, I want to go play golf with him, you know?
Okay.
Maybe surf. Maybe just talk about the ocean. Like, I just want to know what he knows about the ocean. All that, Raph.
You're not making this weird in any way, so let's try and explain what's happening here. All right, so Metamoris happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we have friends in the community that we enjoy, and we were super bummed, obviously, about the statements. So what we normally used to do on the show is we normally used to do, like, bring on 6 people to talk about it. And then we were just like...
And we'd preview it. You know, we'd do a little bit. A little more huzzah.
Yeah. But this time, Kevin and I were just kind of underwhelmed in terms of what was happening. But at its core, there are good people in Jiu Jitsu who do great Jiu Jitsu matches. So yes, we are going to do this episode, talk a little bit about Metamoris. We're going to talk actually with Jeff Glover, which we're excited to talk to.
Yeah. Honestly, there were some really good parts. He was one of the really good parts.
He was a shining moment in a sea full of awkward. But, I mean, Jeff's always a good time, so it's great to be able to catch up with him. We're also talking with our good friend Dave Contreras from Budo Videos, who's going to help us try and make sense of some of the activities, because, let's face it, there was a lot of shit that did happen at Metamoris, and it was weird. And we're doing our best to try and make sense of it, because it was on a soundstage somewhere. You know, they said they faked the moon landing, Kevin. Maybe they faked this Metamoris.
That's definitely that place. I didn't think that intro was going.
You're welcome.
We're also going to talk to Mike Hofer from Jiu Jitsu in the Park. Really cool event that they were making. So we're kind of representing a good mix of the three. We're talking to someone who's really involved in Metamoris, and Jeff Glover has been involved in Metamoris for a while because, you know, he's just that type of grappler that would naturally drift towards it. We're talking to Mike Hofer, who hosts Jiu Jitsu in the Park during the event, and stoked to talk to Dave, who's, you know, just got a good Jiu Jitsu perspective, and we're going to chat about the event with him. So it should be a fun little round robin of grappling love, especially after all the MMA coverage of recent. Getting back to that grappling roots, Raph, I love it.
Absolutely. And if we could make just a quick little thing about it, let's say this, guys. We hope that, and I think we have still hopes, that maybe someone will see the light here, and that maybe individuals will see clearer days and we can get all these people represented on cards.
If anything, there are certainly a few matches we could suggest replacing with some female cards that would meet us halfway.
Yeah,
Jeez.
I have seen many a female match where I did not fall asleep, and I don't know that I can say the same for Metamoris 6. So let's start with that.
Went 2 hours and 24 minutes, I'm pretty sure. I can't be positive, but I'm pretty sure it went 2 hours.
Kev, let's talk a little bit about this real quick, because we put up a nice video that we interviewed some female grapplers in the community called Please Listen Carefully, and we were very excited about it. We got some great response, and we wanted to give a good vehicle to women in Jiu-Jitsu to talk about how they felt about Holik's statements. And I'll say this real quick. Did you see some of the comments that we got on the interwebs?
Of course.
Okay. I think the most surprising of which is this, when they refer to what Holik was doing as a business decision.
Yeah, I do too. I think it's just like, no, it wasn't. Like, just so you know, if that was a business decision, it was a terrible
Well,
business.
first of all, I'd just like to commend all the people who know all the statistics and apparently have been running the numbers and are
They've been
suddenly
crunching it.
experts. Yeah,
Yeah, well, they've been deep in the crunch zone,
absolutely.
running those advanced statistics. So we
But I
have a
love
bunch.
the basic argument of like, you guys don't understand. Like, he was doing it because, like, women don't. Like, they just don't sell pay-per-views and stuff like that. And it really got Kevin and I thinking that part of the reason why we do this as a forum is because we think that a lot of people can actually listen and maybe, hear different sides of a debate. And we're pretty open minded. But when you start saying things that are like, it's a business decision and I know things because you guys, I don't see what the fuss is about. It's just funny. And I would
And
say that.
frankly, who amongst us isn't guilty of the occasional oppression? That's why you just got to learn from that stuff, move past it, try and grow.
Mhm.
And, that's why the video's got to.
But part of us, we normally like to do the around the mat stuff, and we were just so bummed about the event and the things leading into it. But the one thing that we did decide that this event needed was some form of criticism, or at least some sort of dialogue jumping off point, so that hopefully people themselves can make their own decisions, but at least not doing it in a point where it just says, I don't know about this, because let's admit it. What Hawk said, I don't feel was very well worded. And I don't think that a lot of people really, really felt good about it. And whether it was something that he really feels or not, it's at least something that we need to have the organization kind of consider, especially when they have a hashtag called Ask Metamoris, where they want to be a part of that social media and asking them. So hopefully you guys can listen to this. You'll enjoy it. We are talking jiu-jitsu, but we wanted to make that point. So yes, for all the women in the grappling community, we support you. And, for those people who say it's not an issue, it is. So we hope that you guys enjoy this episode. We certainly have a lot to shit on, but there was some good stuff that we'll talk about as well.
Yeah, Hiran fought a giant. Keenan's really good.
Mm-hmm.
Some fun coverage. And let's get to it, Raph. Raph, this is a fun moment. I'm excited to rant at this next guest from Jiu Jitsu in the Park, Mike Hofer. Mike, you've been taking photos of Jiu Jitsu in the Park, making it look like the funnest possible event, while I'm stuck in the East Coast where, okay, maybe it's not 20 degrees now, but it was for like the entire year. Are you just hosting these awesome events to make me jealous I'm not in LA?
All of this is in spite of you. Sorry, not sorry.
Oh, perfect. All right. I like it when they, ladies and gentlemen, from Jiu Jitsu in the Park, we have Mike on the line. Mike, tell people, for those especially on the East Coast or our listeners across the pond in Europe, so great to hear. Like, just tell people what Jiu Jitsu in the Park is, and I'm curious how it started.
Right, so we can start from the beginning, tell you a little how it started. Just four friends. It's me, G. Kim, Joey House, and Eric Medina, some good friends from out here from the LA area.
Three of
Met
them
together.
Wait, I'm sorry, not three. Two of them are terrible human beings. I'll let you figure out
Oh,
which two.
no
Steve
comment.
is an awful human being.
No
Well,
comment.
Kev,
Oh, boy.
spoiler, if you're going to say that.
Huh.
I'm not going to be the homewrecker here.
Well, then let's home wreck some true homes by saying the other one is terrible as Joey. So those two aside, great people, but go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so in lieu of recent events, I don't know if you guys know this, but I'm not taking credit for the movement, the whole Metamoris women's BJJ thing. That's all by itself. But they came to me because they found out that I was the one responsible for starting the hashtag support women's BJJ on Instagram, along with the posting a BJJ girl for Women Crush Wednesday. I started that little fire. The rest of the community took over.
Hold on. I'm pretty sure it was Hollick who started it all. So,
I was like,
Halleck with an H though, not with an R. He helped a lot too.
oh yes.
That guy's great.
Just wanted to make
Anyway,
sure.
so one of my friends told me I was like the little kid with the magnifying glass playing with ants on the sidewalk, and then boop, a little forest fire started. So I'm definitely make this clear that I'm not taking credit for the movement. That's all our people as a community together. But, I rolled a snowball down a mountain. That's all. I played my part. Anyways, so they approached me like, all right, guys, Mike, that was cool. We got to do something more about it. It's up to us. Let's start something good. There's different directions we can go. So it's pretty fun brainstorming with the other three. We had a couple really FU strategies to some groups in the party, but we decided, you know what, there's so much negativity right now. This is not jiu-jitsu. Let's go the other direction and just do something purely awesome and positive. So that is how Jiu-Jitsu in the Park was officially born. Now, not to be confused with G being responsible as the founder. She had a few smaller events last year. We credit her as the founder. She's awesome. She's the queen. But this was the first event with all of us together working collaboratively. Was on May 9th yesterday for Jiu-Jitsu in the Park and the Equal Grounds exhibition. So
when
that
you're putting
being
this
said,
together, I'm sorry, go ahead. I do want to hear
No,
where you're
go
going
ahead.
with that. I was just going to say, when you do put this together, what are your concerns? Like, do you have any kind of nervousness about how it's going to come together? I know that these things have been really, really successful. Like, I've seen them draw a good number of people to come on out there. So, what were things that you guys were expecting going into this?
So the biggest thing was time, because we had only brainstormed this about 3 weeks out. So we're like, okay, guys, we're already super busy with our own stuff going on, not to mention training, of course. But we're like, okay, we got to crack this out. We got to make this. We got to do this. We're delegating jobs to each other. So a lot of it was just good teamwork that helped. I didn't expect us to do this well. I thought by the end of the event yesterday we would have been trying to choke or stab each other at some point, but didn't get that far. We had awesome teamwork and planning and everything, and using the resources that we had awesome help from our friends with local companies contribute to everything. So that actually was okay. The other thing we were worried about was, are people going to make it? Do they care? Do they all want to watch Metamoris instead, or do they want to support the real community? We'd like to say they are, but we can't really tell. So we just had to do our best in getting everybody together and, pumping it up and making it a positive, community-based event that everybody would want to come through to. And I think we did an okay job with that.
And when you start getting it, so what do you do logistics wise, like with mats? Because mats are just a giant pain to me, is why I'm curious.
Right. So luckily for us, thanks to Joey and Eric, my favorite people, they got some mats from a local gym that was closing down, and gave them a really good deal on mats. So they ended up getting something like I think at least like 350 square feet. And then they, in addition to mats they already had, which is awesome for them because they do have some plans in the works for those mats as well for a business on the side with them as well. So they needed the mats, period. So it was just one thing after another lined up to where we just lucked out and got a bunch of mats together. So we're really lucky to, again, with the teamwork we had, to get everything together to work properly.
So cool. Okay. And do you hire a photographer, or do people just kind of really rock it taking good photos and you collect them on Facebook?
So here's the cool thing about it being like a very community-based event where everybody's helping out is that
there's going to be a jiu-jitsu photographer, isn't there?
Yeah, there's going to be
of course there's going to be. There's also a jiu-jitsu mechanic on site that will fix your car while you're hanging out.
We got a medic.
There's a jiu-jitsu oncology nurse. It's amazing.
Kev, are overlooking maybe one of the most golden aspects of jiu-jitsu in the park, which is ask them if they had acai available at Jiu Jitsu in the Park.
Hold on. I do want to ask this. Mike, did you have acai available at Jiu Jitsu in the Park?
Oh man, it was so good. That was the killer right there. That was the killer. Had to do it.
What?
Had to do it. That's
What
right.
is this? Where do you guys live? I'm confused. Like, what? Is that just a pier, or is there a jiu-jitsu practitioner that's also runs an acai food truck?
Well,
And
along with all our jiu-jitsu practitioners and cameramen, there's also a jiu-jitsu wizard that just waves his wand and boop. You got all the toppings you need. You got peanut butter. You got extra banana. You got honey. All that good stuff.
it's like Jiu-Jitsu in the Park, sponsored by Show Your Roll Gi. Everyone wants a gear bundle and a
Wouldn't
new
that be crazy?
So, Kev, allow me to tell you why I like this event. It's, unfortunately I didn't get the chance to go, but I had a lot of friends who were able to attend, and I saw photos of it. And, Mike's being really, really generous by not saying what a true spectacle it was, because they not only had journalists from the MMA and Jiu-Jitsu community go take photos of it. There's obviously going to be more footage coming up, which is going to be awesome. But it was really, really spectacular to see people get together for what was a problem in the Jiu-Jitsu community and turn it into something really, really positive as a movement. So it was a great grassroots effort that I think was unique in that you saw that there was some negativity and you gave people an open space to kind of come together. And I thought that was so cool. Like, from all the small little touches you put there, it seemed like it was a really, really cool thing. So having said all of that, are you planning to do more events in the future? What was the feedback? And just so people have an idea of what this was and how it went down, how many people ended up showing up?
Well, thank you, first of all, for the kind comments. Thanks very much. But feedback-wise, I got nothing but positive comments, people just begging for more events, saying this was awesome, this is what we needed. The best part was not only jiu-jitsu practitioners are saying that, but like their family that came out with them said this is their first time at a jiu-jitsu event. I now see what they do. This is an awesome community. The thing about the park is it's obviously in public, so we have some bystanders, going down the street, stop us. Of course they start out with, oh, is this karate? So, we got to jump on that right away. But, they say, oh, this is awesome. I would want to be a part of this. Do you guys have a Facebook, this and that? I would like to come out. I don't do jiu-jitsu, but this just looks like fun, period. So that was also a score for us. Was not only was it cool for us practitioners and our families, but bystanders, and it was just cool overall. As far as future events, yes, we are planning another Jiu-Jitsu in the Park event later this summer. We're working with some charity events right now. We're going to work it out in the next couple of weeks, and we'll definitely have more time to plan it and let people know. And also, you'll see us post that on our Facebook page, Jiu-Jitsu in the Park. That's where we'll be posting most of our information soon to come.
Cleverly titled Jiu-Jitsu in the Park. I think it's important to know.
Right.
Just in case people didn't know what they mean. And it looks like, based off the photos, it looks like you guys had a few super fights.
Yeah, we had some good matches with the Equal Grounds exhibition. The little subtitle is we wanted to make a point that the community is all of us. It's men, it's women, it's kids. So we made it a point. We made these matches beforehand. We had planned these matches out weeks out. We had, some little girls go out, put on a great show to start off, and we had a young boy versus a young girl. They were super down to do a fight together. I wasn't sure if that was going to happen, but they were more than stoked. Then we had a few women's matches, gi and no gi. Oh yeah, side note, I hate that argument between the whole, oh, gi is better than no gi. I just want to stomp that out. So we had gi matches, we had no gi matches. We had an awesome match between Isla Erickson and Terry Grace. Awesome grappler women. They're so cool. We had to have them. They put on a great show. Emily and Deborah Lopez from Emily's from 10th Planet, Costa Mesa, and Deb is from VMAX. They put on an awesome show.
VMAX!
There you go. Home for you.
Nope.
Had a couple other guys matches, gi, no gi. It was awesome. And then one of the ones later was we had roommate versus roommate. We had Joey House versus the Dark Knight himself, Eric Medina. And they had a little fun time. They started out in the gi. And for some reason, Eric said, hey, tell me when 2 minutes is up. Because we were doing 5-minute sub-only matches. I'm like, okay, that's fine. So when they called it out, they caught up, took their gi tops off, and went no gi just to have a little fun. So the crowd really loved that. So the matches were done awesome, and I'm glad
Hold on.
everybody
Let's take a moment.
So
here.
fucking jealous.
Kev, let's
Sucks.
not gloss
What?
over.
No, screw
how that
you
match.
and
No.
everybody in your beautiful little utopian jiu-jitsu land.
Okay, so what you mean to tell me is two roommates who have been described as more than on one occasion as life partners decided that at a certain point, hey, let me know when 2 minutes have go by, and then decide to start disrobing.
Yeah, and what they said was they're so angry because I guess Eric was saying that Joey doesn't put the seat down on the toilet, and then Joey was saying he doesn't give up the rent and he doesn't like cats. So they just wanted to go at it, so who am I to stop them?
Oh my god. They're they're a weird combination of human beings that I'm glad found each other, and not only found each other, but basically fought to protect our rights. So God bless them. You know?
I just like that, like a good roommate grievance situation. It's like, I'll see you in jiu-jitsu in the park. That's it. Yeah, you
Yeah,
will. It's not
exactly.
me either. It's like, yeah.
I'll see you on the grass, son.
I will say, it's a far cry from when my roommate and I, we would settle hoops paying a bill via jiu-jitsu a long time ago. So I'm glad that they could settle their differences in a much more pleasant way. But that sounds great. And good, and more power to them. We obviously are kidding. Eric and Joey are great friends of the podcast, so even though we dislike them immensely. That's so great, Mike. You know, so if you're looking at it and you know you got more events coming up, you know, you're going to involve more and more people, you know, what can people expect from the next time? And do your best sales pitch right now. If people didn't go to that last one, why are they going to want to be at the next one?
Oh, man, the pressure. No worries. Well, they can definitely expect more acai. That's the killer right there. You got to have the purple stuff. We're in cahoots with a few. We're in cahoots with a few other organizations and companies. We're really going to build it up. Each event's going to be bigger and bigger, and we're also thinking about putting on some super fights, like some big super fights as maybe a main event. And you know, who knows who could show up? So you just got to stay tuned.
Roommate versus roommate 2. You guys don't even know. No, that sounds sick. And based off of the very little that I've heard just on small details, it sounds like you guys have a lot planned for people who are in the community. And are you guys going to keep it kind of in Long Beach, or are you going to kind of travel around? Obviously, with the mats, you can kind of move around. But where are you guys looking maybe to, you know, do people say on the west side, or are people over in the valley ever going to get a jiu-jitsu in the park?
Right. We got people asking, come here, come there. But, you know, we are for the grapplers. We're by the grapplers, for the grapplers. So wherever they take us, we still got to talk about it. And we are what Gotham needs us to be. So we'll see.
Gotham needs us to be is great.
I love this. I know. I'm like thinking about dates. I'm looking at the park. Okay. Well, Mike, thank you very much. It's appreciated on the jealousy scale. And if you ever think about doing like our nation's capital jiu-jitsu in the park, you know, let me know. That might be a fun, like, jiu-jitsu goes to Washington. Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Have we made it a thing?
Jiu-jitsu
Raph?
goes to Washington, Kev.
I'm just spitballing. You're saying.
Listen, Kev, you can start the movement on your side of the world and stop being so lazy.
Right. This isn't just us guys. We did this, so hopefully people would follow. We got hit up by some people from Northern California and also like Texas, and giving them advice and things. It's for the community, guys, not just us here in SoCal. You know, we got to spread it as much as we can. Got to get the good vibes out there.
I like it.
I do too, and I'm really stoked at this point. Well, Mike, people can find the Facebook page is super easy. Jiu Jitsu in the Park. That was no problem. I'm actually staring at it again. Right. Sunny. Who would have thought, right? Where else can people find you and make sure they're staying in tune to Jiu Jitsu in the Park events?
Yes, so Jiu Jitsu in the Park on Facebook, and we will also be posting a highlight video of that very soon, so stay tuned. Also, if you go on Instagram at Jiu Jitsu in the Park, super simple, that's it. Be posting pictures, you can keep up with us there.
That's awesome. That's the easiest. You sure you don't want to make it more complicated? We tend
No.
What happens if I type in Jiu Jitsu in the Pork?
Oh, man. Oh, a lot of mad vegans.
Just wanted to make sure.
Just think about that. It's always good to know what's going on SEO. Ladies and gentlemen, from Jiu Jitsu in the Park, we've got Mike Hofer. Mike, thank you so much for swinging by the podcast.
Thanks for having me, guys. See you later.
We'll introduce this next guest as MMA commentator now because of his evolution of grappling. Anyone in the jiu-jitsu community knows Jeff Glover way back as, Jeff is on the line right now. Jeff sort of set the mold for sort of what has become the entertaining grappling. That was always Jeff Glover before it became something people were looking at. Jeff, you were rocking Metamoris last night. Raph and I were both talking about this before we talked to you, which is how you know it's true. So, Jeff, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing well, thank you guys. Yeah, sorry, train just went by. I live really close to a train.
Okay, I was a little worried that we were going to lose you.
I half expected him to start being like, sorry, I'm out. There's a train here, and I have to get on it. It takes me to my special jiu-jitsu school, where it's like a Harry Potter situation. It's just like, I gotta go, guys. The jiu-jitsu train's here.
No, well, listen here. I'll give you the inside scoop. The only place I could get in San Diego that would let me keep my giant fucking dog in the upstairs apartment happens to be like a jump, skip, and a hop across from a fucking train tracks.
This is a scoop. This is the stuff they missed last night.
But I will say, Jeff, you have the world's sickest half pipe that you guys have put up in your fucking house, though.
But yeah, like I can't even walk outside without the train tracks going off. And it's funny because there's like 4 of them, and they'll go by at the same time. And people just keep talking to me, and I'm like, yeah, I have no idea what you're saying. But I smile and I nod.
But he has a dog, and he gets to keep it, so fuck off. It's a train situation. I balance that.
Yeah.
I keep that up for my dog.
Landlord's cool. My landlord let me build a half pipe. Well, he didn't let me. He left for the weekend, and when he was gone, I built this upstairs. And then when he came home, I was halfway done. He was kind of pissed about it, but there's not much he could do at that point, so we just finished it. And then he let me keep it for 10 days, and then I had to move it downstairs, but I have a half pipe, and it's really cool.
I mean,
and it helps
dude,
me for balance.
It's still fucking sick. Like, I remember when I saw you put it up on your Instagram, and I was just like, man, Jeff really does live the life. Between you having Matt's just to go in your own apartment, and then, I guess if you're bored, why not half pipe in your own living room?
Yeah, I don't complain often, man. I don't complain. My living situation's pretty cool. I got a dope-ass dog. I train with Dean Lister at Victory, you know. Like, I have an awesome job. My students are all awesome and really good at jiu-jitsu and good-looking, and we all like each other, and everybody's fucking cool. And I work for Metamoris, and I got to commentate with Bass freaking Rutin last night.
Yeah, you did.
You sure did. And we have many questions about that. But when did you find out you were doing it with Bass?
The day of. It was pretty last moment, man. They had a lot of shuffling around to do, as always with any live, with any show like that. You know, there's going to be last minute replacements, and this was, you know, a perfect example of that. I was supposed to work with Jay Glazer, but then last minute he couldn't make it, so they were luckily able to get Boss.
Yeah, we knew he was like a substitute late. We just didn't know necessarily the details because they didn't really address it on the podcast or on the broadcast, basically. But we did know he was a surprise. That was sort of the theme of the night. Did you guys have a meeting beforehand where it was like, hey, by the way, there are like 5 fighters out? What did you know? What did you not know on the fly as you guys were trying to do the production side of what was like a really rapidly changing card?
Yeah, well, you guys know what happened to Jeff Munson, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's terrible. That was we were really bummed to hear that happened, man.
Yeah, so, you know, that's just an example of, like, you know, somebody wouldn't know about that situation and go on and talk shit, you know, would go on the internet and be like, they said Jeff Munson was going to fight. And it's like, you know, were we going to mention that? Like, me and Boss were talking about it, like, dude, should we mention on the broadcast about, you know, what happened to Jeff and send our condolences to him? Or is it just inappropriate, and should we just leave it be and not even say anything and just kind of avoid the situation? You know, there's part of us that wanted to be, you know, sympathetic to him and mention it and send him,
No,
you know.
you guys actually, you guys handled it classy, we thought, because you did mention you were like, it was an emergency. You didn't go into details because it wasn't really your place and it was really fresh. So we actually thought you handled that in a really slick way.
Yeah, I just kind of went with what Boss wanted to do. He's the pro in that situation. He's the man, so that's what he wanted to do. So
he was hilarious, by the way, because
Dude,
everyone loves Bas Rutten. He's been in MMA forever. I guess he started it. I don't know. He was one of the few people. It feels like he did. He was great, but he was struggling with some of the jiu-jitsu names, which I get completely. Like, you know, it's a little bit more of a niche part of the martial arts, but you obviously know these people intimately because you've been fighting or training or teaching them for years and years. My favorite was a lot of his Keenan mishaps. We were loving him trying to get Keenan Cornelius for the first 10 minutes. That was good stuff.
You see, I knew that was gonna be a good thing. Like, beforehand, he was like, you know, we were talking about some of the names, and there was even a few that I was like, whoa, man, I can't say that dude's last name. And I hear other people say it a lot because I've heard of this guy before. I've heard people pronounce his name, but I'm just incapable of doing it. And he was worried. He's like, man, how do you say it? Ryron Gracie? How the fuck do you say that name? I'm like, dude, don't worry about it. Please fuck that name up. Just fuck up any name. It's hilarious when you do that. Oh, that's part of what the people want, man. They want to be entertained tonight, dude. If we can mix up people's names and have a good joke about it, I don't think that would be a bad thing, you know? So that was kind of one of the jokes. That was
Bass's notes?
What?
That was his idea? He was like, it's okay if we F up the name? Or I'm sorry, whose production note was that?
We just kind of talked about it. It's just kind of, I don't know. We both came to the conclusion that's the way to go, you know? Like,
I agree. It was funny.
Yeah, he was down to crack jokes. Like, he wanted to do more jokes. Like, there was 4 or 5 jokes that right before he did them, he was like, nah, I shouldn't do that. And I was like, no, you should have done that joke. Man, it's so fucking cool, dude.
It was a fun broadcast from that perspective. And as you guys started, you're joined by Henner. Any particular reason, like, he came up immediately after? Because there was also some sound cues so we could hear him getting settled and, like, making sure the mic was up. But why did he join you right after the broadcast? Do you know?
What do you mean, Henner? What about him?
Oh, he just kind of came in and joined you guys.
Oh, well, yeah, his little brother fucking runs the show. That makes sense.
Okay, so we weren't sure. Hey, we love him. He's like a great. And then obviously he was coaching, which was awesome, by the way. From your perspective,
so smart, man.
And you guys actually had a really fun dynamic going on too. From your perspective, talk to us about the matches. What did you like? What piqued your interest? You're obviously, you've been a showman for a while in jiu-jitsu, which is, that side came a little later for a lot of people. And now that you see a lot of the younger guys following that lead, just talk to us about what you saw in the night. What did you like? What was one of the matches you really loved?
That kid Dylan Danis, man, he's got a good attitude. I talked to him a little bit. I got to know him a little bit here this week, or yesterday, I should say. And he's a good kid, man. And he's young as hell. He's 21. He's a beast. His mentality, I like his mentality. He's got that Marcelo Garcia, just go get that dude. Come out and he might not necessarily be like as showman-y as me, for example, but that's going to be hard to do. But I'll tell you what, man, if he's not a showman, he's a submitter. And if you're not going to be entertaining out there, you got to be tapping people. And that kid comes out for the tap. So and plus he hit a darts, which is my favorite submission of all time. So that was freaking cool.
No, that was sick. And I have to say, of the people who came, the revolving door, you might say, of people who came to visit you guys at the commentary booth, I thought he was actually pretty good on the mic as well, explaining a lot of the moves.
Man.
And I thought that's such a hard job to do. I don't think people really understand how difficult
God, that was
it
a
is.
sweet darce. Fuck that. Sorry, go ahead, Ron.
It was a good darts, man. It was clean. It was smooth. You saw it coming. We all see, like, it was smooth, like I'm all about the better I get, the more I train jiu-jitsu, the longer I train jiu-jitsu, I notice like the difference between somebody who's choppy and somebody who's smooth, I'm like, that kid is freaking smooth, and I like his style, man.
Was it like, because I think the idea was you kept having new people come in, they would drop in, they'd say their casualness, and it was just weird because they wouldn't stay the full match, so you had people like coming in and out. Was there anybody who was a particular favorite that stop by for you when they were sitting down with you?
Yeah, they didn't tell us about that till the last second. I actually thought it was a great idea. I thought we could have been doing that the whole show. That, bringing in these other guys. Because Shanji, Shanji's the man, dude. Shanji's so smart and good at jiu-jitsu and knows so much and knowledgeable about jiu-jitsu. I think he could host the show, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So many of these guys, I sit back and I'm like doing the show and I'm looking at all these dudes and I'll talk to these guys. I'll talk to Shanji. I'll talk to Solo. I'll talk to some of the other guys like Josh. And I'm like, man, each one of these guys can do my job better than me. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, they're also, so many of these guys are so smart with jiu-jitsu, bro. It's just, and the business side and just, I'm surrounded by all these really awesome, prosperous, male positive role models. It's crazy, dude.
I mean,
Keenan was pretty good on the mic too. Keenan was awesome. Keenan had some good questions for Boss that got some really cool stuff about the pancreation fights. It was fun.
Yeah, right? I was like, this dude, Keenan's always, we all know Keenan, man. He's the man. He's good on the mic. He's good on camera. He's good on the mat. He's good on the drums. He's good on the piano. He's good on the, I don't know what else he's good on. I'll start to get inappropriate. I should stop.
Well, we know he's still so hot right now, so we definitely are up on
So
that.
hot.
So hot.
Oh, all right.
But I guess, Jeff, when you're sitting there and you're watching a match, tell us, like, is it hard for you as just a fan? Because you look so enthusiastic throughout the whole show. Like, you got the best seat in the house. How hard is it for you to, like, differentiate being a fan and then having to remember you have to commentate? Does that ever happen for you?
What do you mean?
Like, is it just difficult that you get caught up in it because, you could be talking at home and enjoying a match, but you sometimes get so caught up that you forget you're like, oh shit, I gotta talk. Like, does that ever happen for you because you just get so into the matches?
No, I'm pretty conscious about trying to do a good job and say the right thing and not say anything. Mostly I'm trying really hard to focus on not saying stuff that's stupid or stuff that I don't need to be said, that doesn't need to be said.
Yeah.
I'm so focused on that I don't have, like, I'm, it's not like it's easy for me, I definitely have to, like, curb check a lot of the shit I want to say.
Sure. It's a good thing they have a dump button in case you need it for any good reason. But for you, like, You're excited. You get to do that. Is it any different without an audience for you when you're commentating?
No, dude, that shit, it makes me nervous, you know. I get what is called stage fright or whatever, but lucky for me, I just know the context of, I know what I'm talking about, so it just works out, and nerves go away because I just get into my zone and do my job, but yeah, wait, what did you ask me again? I forgot.
Well, for example, I would have gotten super lost when Keenan flipped over Shenji. I was just like, what the fuck? I would have been a terrible commentator in that exact moment. I was like, wait, go back. What was the grip? What was the grip? Does this count as a guard pass? So I was losing my mind for 2 minutes.
Yeah,
pretty in
what comes to
control.
mind is like the first time I did Metamoris was that I commentated was for Eddie versus Hoyler, and that match I was so fucking excited, like it was ridiculous, man. Kenny had to keep telling me to calm down. He's like, "Hey, chill out, dude, calm down, like sit down, like you're supposed to like commentate right now." And I was just jumping up and going like, "Ah!" Like it was crazy, you know, and like. Now, 3 or 4 shows later, I'm pretty chill. I can contain myself now, you know. I don't get so like into it just because I don't want to like. Mostly because I had Kenny kind of like discipline me. Kenny was like my commentating coach or whatever, and he's like, dude, you need to like chill out.
There are worse people you could have kind of getting you through that. But I mean,
Well,
now
he left some advice off. Ref Kenny was obviously like, chill out and hey, more hair gel. Like whatever you're doing, you need to up it by 1,000.
You need to up your hair game. You need to up the hair game. You need to up the sock game. You need to up the vocabulary.
If you could have higher cheekbones and a stronger jaw, that would be nice too. But just like start with a strong hair game. Yeah, media coaching with Kenny at Florian should be on the next. So.
Hey, so you guys are gonna laugh when I'm driving my friend to the airport and I'm gonna order food right now. Yeah, can I have a all natural burger, please? Not the combo, just the burger, and a Oreo cookie shake, please.
Well, the Gary Tonin diet is definitely in play.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Continue. Sorry, guys.
Not a problem. I will say you are not the only Metamoris participant to do this exact thing to us.
No, in fact, Kit Dale was waiting on his Jamba Juice. Yeah, he was in Joms.
So we've had commentators and competitors get their food on. Don't worry, and it's nice of you to be driving somebody to the airport. So that's very, very, very cool of you. So,
yeah, I'm driving my boy. Shouts out to my boy Jeff via Real on the internet. It's just Jeff Real, but he's my boy. He's a black belt from Fabio Santos, and he cruises around between AZ and Florida and here, and trains with me and Dean and shit. So he's the man. So I got to take him to the airport when he asks, because he always helps me when I'm too hungover to teach a class and stuff. I'll call him like 5 minutes before I'm supposed to be there, because I don't know, I have problems, and then he'll show up and teach the class for me, and I really appreciate it. So when he asked me to take him to the airport, I have to oblige. The dude obliges.
Absolutely. How many times do you have to call him though? Just curious to cover for you.
Ballpark us.
Just ballpark a year.
He probably it depends. It's seasonal. Yeah.
One thing I was curious in asking you, Jeff, is you mentioned this, and we'll get back to Metamoris in a second, but you mentioned that on air you taught the move that Josh Barnett did to Dean Lister right after Metamoris 5, I think it was, yeah?
Right.
How did that go?
Well, I mean, isn't that what this is all about? Is finding things we fuck up at and things we're bad at, and immediately addressing them and correcting them?
Absolutely. But I just thought it was interesting that you said, I wouldn't have thought anything of it, but when you said it was like, yeah, Dean wasn't happy about that, I go, that's pretty funny, though.
Yeah, well, Dean's always going to crack a joke here or there, but...
And a
Dean's
foot,
not
if you're not careful.
Dean's not a player hater on styles and moves, man. You know, he's not one to say like, oh, that shit doesn't work, or
Yeah,
like,
right.
you know, or to like, dude, he had nothing but good things to say about Josh after that match. So, you know, I didn't think there was a problem. I thought it was something he would want to talk about and be taught and fucking have our whole school learn about how to use and defend it.
That was sick, though, and I like seeing. I mean, the inclusion of Josh has been a really, really cool aspect for Metamoris. Were you looking at this match when they basically announced that Hiron was going to replace Cyborg? Two things: how bummed were you to lose Cyborg in this main event, and two, how excited were you to find out that Hiron was going to replace him?
Yeah, exactly. You know, it was like I don't know, a good thing and a bad thing. You know, obviously, always dope to see Cyborg compete. That dude freaking brings it. He's an absolute animal.
Yeah.
And he's fun to watch. And he does interesting, cool moves that are not common. You know, he's got his own style. I love dudes with their own style. Cyborg has his own style. He's got the tornado guard. You know, nobody does that shit better than him. And I was looking forward to seeing how Josh would handle that shit.
God damn, I was too. God, I was too. Fuck.
Yeah, but man, I'm a fan of Hiron Gracie, dude. I like Hiron. I used to, I seen Hiron compete back in the day when he was like brown belt and shit. And then, you know, I actually think he's really good. Like I've seen him throw in competition on really good guys. I've seen him throw up flying triangles and stuff, and you know, and I have a similar build to Hiron, and I think I have a similar style to him, and I think. I don't know. I just always kind of like Hiron, so I get excited whenever I hear he's going to compete. You know, like the time he fought Mark Lehman, I was with Mark Lehman at the time, and I was excited to see Mark fight, but I was just as excited to see Hiron fight. You know, I was like,
yeah.
I don't know. Hiron's an exciting dude. You know, he's the grandson of Helio Gracie, bro. That's freaking dope.
Right? I mean, Jeff, and I know we had a replacement going in, but let's say something had happened to Hiron. Were you ready to just step in for him just in case? Because I think you were next in the succession line.
Had to be.
What, me to fight Josh Barnett?
Yeah, why not?
I mean, we assumed your tights were underneath your suit again, just in case. Is that not?
Yeah, I don't know if you really want to know what was underneath my suit. But I have no comment on me versus Josh Barnett. That's no comment.
Okay, we're gonna carry on as if you said yes, but
yeah, sounds like Metamoris 7.
Yeah,
look out.
Jeff. So for you, you know,
you are the giant killer. You're the one that did that. I'm just saying.
Hey, well, listen, I'll call him. Okay, I'll say this then. I think I don't know if you guys saw, but like Hiron, the way I play deep half guard, right? I think if Hiron was to have played that style, he could have weathered the storm a little bit longer and kind of. I just think the style that I use for deep half guard is actually really, really, really good against big guys. If you watch my matches from 2009 Grappler's Quest, I fought the Absolute. All four guys outweighed me by the lightest guy outweighed me by like 60 pounds. You know what I'm saying? The other three guys I fought were like huge, you know? And I beat all of them with the same concept, dude, with deep half guard, with not afraid of letting the guy pass your guard and mount you. Because when they mount you, they walk into the setup for deep half guard. And it's also a great way to stall and kind of pass time in a safe position where the guy can't really grab too many submissions too easily. And I didn't see him, and I was looking for him, and I saw opportunities, because I was sitting right there, where he could have used deep half guard, where Josh was pushing forward a little too hard and exposing himself for that type of style. So I don't know, man. Maybe you might be right. Maybe you never know. Styles make fights, you know, and Jiu Jitsu has been proven to be able to beat bigger guys before. So you never know. I mean, maybe me and deep half guard would have done a better job against Josh Barnett than Hiron Gracie and the style that he was using. But, you know, who's to say whatever? You know, he's the one who stepped up and fought the guy, not me.
I mean, I'm just saying, if you guys end up doing that match, I will gladly take only 10% of all the commotion that gets brought out as a matchmaker, but that's just details.
God,
to be
now
brought
I'm
out for
obsessed with that
content later.
idea. Yeah, let's focus. I mean, I was impressed with he runs. I genuinely was. First of all, I didn't realize how tall he was, though. He's so
No,
tall.
dude. Yeah.
Like I
No.
originally when he stood next to it, I was like, oh, wait, holy fuck. Fucking, is he a basketball player? I was like, he runs like 6'3". Okay, didn't know that. First of all, I guess I didn't know he and Henner are both that tall. They must be because they always
Yeah.
look the same height on videos. I just assumed they were.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah,
crazy.
it's crazy. They're so much taller than me. I didn't even realize. I never knew Keon was the same age as me. Him and I are both 32. I always thought he was like 10 years older than me this whole time. But I'm like, man, he's so wise. He's so experienced, man. And I'm like, what? We're the same age. Oh, man. But he's a little bit more wise to the ways of the world than I am, I would say.
Now, Metamoris also had a little bit of a change. You guys had some prelims. Was that kind of cool for you to experience? Because we're just so used to the 6 matches. And I'd heard that we were getting some preliminary matches. But was that difficult? Was it different? How did you feel throughout that process? Were you glad that more people got kind of an opportunity to display their stuff who maybe wouldn't ordinarily be on a card?
Yeah, I mean, I don't care, dude. I'll commentate whatever, dude. That was whatever. Prelim, post-lim, fucking, I don't give a shit. Some shady, whatever they want to do.
Jeff's so picky.
Yeah. I mean, and those guys doing the prelims were all really good anyway. So I mentioned that these guys were all like high caliber fighters, like almost insulting to put them on preliminary,
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but on the other side, I'm just glad that we were able to get that opportunity to see them. So it was kind of cool because that is the hard part when they talk about just having 6 slots. You want there to be more people to get that kind of window and opportunity to kind of make the most of it. Were there any kind of other moments that stood out to you, like in terms of matches or, what genuinely surprised you at Metamoris?
You know what? I don't understand why. I don't know. I thought Henner. I actually enjoyed working with Henner. I thought he was really informative, and I liked the way he his analogies and comparisons, and the way he kind of. I thought he did a good job. I could see myself working with Henner in the future.
Okay. That's fascinating. Well, he was a good dynamic mix, too, because you tend to be a little bit good, especially when he gets into positions and he can carry the middle ground a little bit better, especially when Bass Ruten's sitting there in the 3-hole. He's my favorite third commentator now of all time, by the way. I hope Bass Ruten's allowed at any event I'm ever attending.
I just hope they bring
graduations,
the 3
weddings,
of you into different sports now. Like, you guys are going to do the NHL next, then it'll be the NBA. Just that dynamic of you. I think the weird reason why Henner provides a different vibe for you guys on that desk is just how fast he's talking. So at times, it's almost as if he's asked himself a question and then answered it super quick.
Yeah. I was like, give me time to answer it. I'm slow.
There was no less than 3 times where I'm listening to him and it's just like, hey, everybody, I'm going to go ahead and say a few more things, but when I say them, I'm going to go ahead and answer them. Jeff, what did you think about that? That's great. I really like your answer on that one. Let's go and talk about something else right now.
I was like, you ever seen Billy Madison, where the guy's trying to teach Spanish to Billy Madison and is just reading out of a book and he's going really fast?
Yeah, exactly.
And then they glance over to Billy Madison and he's like, slow down.
I don't understand you. Jeff, is there discussion, and I have 2 questions for you. Is there discussion about, are you going to come back and fight in Metamoris? Are you enjoying the commentary side? What's that? How's that look for you? Because you fought both, for people that don't know, but obviously most do. You fought in a few now.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, I'm on board, I like doing it. It's fun for me. I like the attention. It's something I could see myself doing in the future, and something I could see myself getting better at. and investing a little time into some kind of I don't know, schooling on the subject. So I like it, and I really appreciate the opportunity that Metamoris has given me to hone those skills and to kind of develop, or I should say discover the art of commentating, if you will. Dog.
So you think about like a public speaking class? We could recommend some good comm classes between Raph and I, at least. Yep.
Yeah,
That's
it's really cool. It's a lot easier than doing jiu-jitsu matches. There's a lot less stress on me than or what? It's not less. It's just different. It's a different kind of stress than prepping and knowing you're gonna fight somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's a different part of your brain that's working. I'm sure for you, a high level competition, it's a different kind of stress. But I'm sure in certain ways you also feel more comfortable. That feels like home because you're doing that. But nobody just sits down and talks like that about a match on a daily basis. Like, there's not a ton of things you can do to prepare for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer, dude, to be honest with you, as far as that goes. And I do it all the time in my classes. I would make my students fight each other, and everybody gets to watch. Like, I make two guys fight, and everybody else sits on the wall. And when I get to watch them kind of commentate and laugh and poke and make fun of, or coach and encourage. And it's fun, it's a fun part of jiu-jitsu is cheering on and rooting on the sideline.
Definitely.
That's also a fun, just like...
Hey, guys, say bye to Jeff real quick.
Bye, Jeff.
Bye, Jeff.
Jeff, I feel like it's a loss to the community, man.
Have a safe trip. What a journey.
Yeah, Jeff's the man, dude. He's I don't know if you know about Jeff, but he's a cancer survivor. He had testicular cancer, had one of his freaking balls removed, and got back on the mat like freaking 2 months later, and now he's back like nothing happened. He's born without a hand, so he only has his left hand, so he's born without his right hand, and he's actually survived cancer twice, and he got his black belt in jiu-jitsu under Fabio San. He's fought Hofer Mendez. He's fought both the Mendez brothers, and fought Ben, who's the UFC guy, Benson Henderson.
Mm-hmm. Smooth.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like Jeff's fought like all the best, man, and he's freaking awesome. Anyway, just giving a shout out to my boy. You know how we do, bro.
Yeah. No, we like it. This is part of what made you fun last night. So give us your Metamoris favorite match.
Heat-On and Josh, for sure, man. That was fucking epic for our sport, dude, to see those two guys go at it and find out who's the best, bro, and see Heat-On Gracie Jiu-Jitsu take on Josh Barnett's fucking catch wrestling, and who had the better submission style.
Now, you were also saying styles make matches. Let's put on our matchmaking hat right now. Is there something you want to see? Is there some match or matches that you have in mind if you were given the opportunity to book right now? What would you like to see?
Well, they need to get Bill Cooper and Marcelo Garcia involved.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just talking with somebody.
Dude, where has Bill Cooper been?
Nah, man, where is he?
We just put out an APB for.
I was like, could
now.
someone call him and say, I miss seeing him compete? That'd be awesome.
They need to make a book like a Where's Waldo, but like a Where's Bill. Just put him like a picture of like the crowd at like the 2012 Worlds, like the crowd sitting there, and just like put his face in there somewhere and look at a shit like that would be fucking hilarious.
Now, I know that there's a lot of talk of getting, like, MMA stars to come on in and usually take on jiu-jitsu guys. Is there anybody in MMA that you'd kind of be interested, now that we've kind of seen some folks come do their thing here, maybe that you think would lend themselves to doing kind of cool stuff?
Dude, they need to bring in the Japanese guys, man. The Japanese guys are the best. Those guys are fucking true filming.
Oh, shit, man.
Oh, Raph, by the way, you're going to have to pitch your show of Jeff explaining Dragon Ball Z to Bassroot.
Oh, yeah, no. There was a moment where I texted Kevin and I said, all I want is 10 minutes of you and Henner explaining Dragon Ball Z to Bass.
You know, I'm probably gonna break your heart right now, but I don't even know anything about Dragon Ball Z.
No.
Yeah, I never got into it. I was into X-Men, bro. I liked X-Men, and I liked fucking Deadpool, and yeah.
Well,
No, but I never
obviously
got
you like
into
the
it.
X-Men because all of your rash guards are so fucking legit. Like your
Yeah.
Colossus, your Wolverine. Like I'm obviously jealous of that. If you had to pick a favorite X-Men, what would it be?
Wolverine for sure.
Wait,
He's my
I'm
favorite
sorry.
guy.
Let me go ahead and rephrase that. If you could compare your jiu-jitsu to somebody in the
Yeah.
X-Men, who
There
would
it
it be and why?
is.
I don't know. What would you say? What do you think I'm like?
It's a good question. I don't know. The Donkey
I
Guard
would call
presents
him-
a very, very big question.
I would
mark.
say Nightcrawler. I would say Nightcrawler
I was
without
gonna say
hesitation.
Nightcrawler, too.
Because you
Nightcrawler
appear
was off
at
the top of
weird
my head.
spots and not the way you're supposed to.
Yeah.
And sometimes
Teleporter.
you disappear from the commentary to the match and then right back to commentary. So
Yeah.
That was
I like that.
if you just added a
Jeff
little
Glover.
bamf-
Jeff Glover will be commentating and fighting in the same match at Metamoris 7. That's a great promo video. They should think
With
about
the
that.
headset on, I'll fight
Oh,
yeah.
some dude off. Just
We just see him.
Yeah.
like fighting
that
off
was-
the books and shit.
that was the thing that pissed me off when you did the secret match. That I was like, why the shit did they not let you have your fucking mic on? If you had your headset mic on, the next time that you get to go ahead and do a match at Metamoris, then I'll be happy.
But that doesn't even make sense. How could I have a mic on and wrestle somebody? What if they grab my head?
Someone said that about Flight once, Jeff.
Yep.
Now that's you just dropped a friend off at the airport. So let's just keep an attitude towards progress.
They paused it.
It's like, yeah, that's all I got. I'll just stop talking now. If that's okay with everyone. I'll just retreat from the conversation. I need to go. Like I've been like going too hard lately. I need to take like a week long, just weed camp vacation and go train with Jeff Glover and hang out in the half pipe. That's what I need to do. I need to reset.
Yeah, well, you know what they say. Once you go Jeff, you never go back.
I have heard that, especially from vacations. Well, Jeff, we appreciate you swinging by the podcast this evening, especially en route to the airport while ordering a completely natural burger and a cookie shake. Cookies and cream shake.
Yeah, those motherfuckers only filled it up halfway, too. I didn't
Oh,
say anything. I've got the shake, and I was like, what is this? But I couldn't say anything because we were talking.
You totally should have put him on blast.
Yeah.
We don't have any
It's
sponsors
all right.
we got to worry
It's all
about
right.
here. We take him. We take
It's all
action.
right. That poor lady's working the freaking night shift on a Sunday. She just wants to go home to her kids and shit, and she's working at freaking Carl's Jr. listening to my douchebag ass order a freaking Oreo cookie shake and do a podcast at the same time.
hey, no excuses. You get the order right. I don't have it.
Carl's Jr., a former proud sponsor of Verbal Tap Podcast.
This brought to you by Carl's.
Yep.
Doing great.
Yeah.
Well, Jeff, thank you so much. Great show last night, and we can't wait. We need to see you fight again soon, too, just because, that's fun.
Well, thank you. I would love to, man. If they ever ask me to, I will. I just, I do what they ask me, and it's a fun job. And, yeah, thank you guys. And I want to give a shout-out to my team, Victory MMA, and OTM, my sponsor, Scott Nelson, my boy, Verbal Tap. I want to thank you guys. You guys have always been cool to me, and I appreciate you letting me voice my opinions on your show.
Dude, not a problem, man.
You're always our favorite. I actually had a compliment to you. The virtual seminar with Keenan, when you were learning the move, you also wanted him to defend it, and you did a little bit. It was cool to see the way you learn new moves. I took that. I was like, oh, okay, he doesn't just want to learn the new move and grapple. He doesn't just want to get it right. He wants them to start defending, and it was just cool to see. That was good. As a younger belt in the process, I stole that. I control-saved that. It was like, good to see that.
Yeah. Well, hey, listen, don't be afraid about stealing people's content, man. I do it all the time. I'm a fucking thief.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that's your knee bar game.
Monkey see, monkey do. Monkey see, monkey
That's
do,
right.
man. I copy people, I try to make up what I can, but a lot of the stuff is like a lot of the quotes I say, a lot of the jokes, they're all from other people, man. I just recycle them a little bit and fucking. So don't be afraid of that, bro. And that's what we're here for, man. We're all here to help each other share knowledge and grow. So no worries, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, Jeff Glover.
Yeah. That's right, motherfuckers. I'm going down like Chuck Norris.
Verbal tap to help us review some Metamoris. There are absolutely some of us that watched it. We have from Budo Video, Dave Contreras. Dave, I also have just a general Jiu Jitsu live stream question for you.
Go for it. I'll do my best.
Has there been some sort of change in like the general technology over the last 6 to 8 months that has resulted in the Jiu Jitsu streams being much better than they were, say, before this time?
I wouldn't say there was one thing, but I think the fact that streaming technology is becoming more popular, a lot more companies are invested into developing technology for it and just improving, streaming in general. But definitely, things have changed quite a bit in the last 3 to 4 years.
Okay. Damn it, Dave. That was such a professional and kind of boring answer. I was looking for no, there was this major switch we flipped. Yes, we landed on the moon, and here's what happened.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dave Contreras, already dealing with my BS. Thank you for joining us on the podcast this evening.
Thanks for having me. I can't take credit for other aspects of Jiu-Jitsu streaming, but we can talk about that later.
Okay. It would be nice if you could, though. That would be an awesome thing, because you just explained the technology for everyone. No, talk to us about what you saw. You watched Metamoris. We're going to talk to you. You're going to help us run it down. What did you like overall?
I watched Metamoris. I actually, I've seen every single one of them, and I watch them because obviously I love Jiu-Jitsu, and I just have a general curiosity about just Jiu-Jitsu and then producing Jiu-Jitsu, for a live audience or a worldwide audience, because that's kind of what we do. But I thought the show was great. I think when you watch the Metamoris, you have to expect certain things that you're not always going to get. Unfortunately, not always exciting matches. You're not going to get always submissions in every match. That's kind of to be expected. But stepping back from a production standpoint, I think it was like their best produced show. And I think that has to do with them kind of, not having to set up somewhere in some new location, or, they have this warehouse that they've been filming their shows in, and everything just seemed really on point. Like, everything was super clean, and I didn't see any mistakes, any flubs.
Oh, okay. We watched very different shows then. If you didn't see any mistakes, but we'll take care of those.
You know what? It's Jiu-Jitsu, and I unfortunately, because it's Jiu-Jitsu, my expectations are sometimes a little low.
Sure,
but
and
I think
as they should be.
To most of their events, I think it was one of the smoothest things they had going. I would say.
Let's talk a few pro cons first. Pro side. Let's talk about how pretty the stream looked. Like, the set looked great. The colors really vibed out. It looked very, very nice.
Sure.
What was your feeling on the no audience angle?
It didn't really bother me. I might be in the minority when I say this, but I actually kind of liked the intimate feel that it had. And I think in general, previous Metamoris events, I went to the very first one, the only one that I've actually been to in person, and it was just really, really quiet in there, considering how large of a space it was and how many people were there. Like, the audience almost kind of felt intimidated to kind of cheer or to kind of, you know what I mean, like to get kind of excited about it. So it's not something I kind of totally missed, because I never really kind of got that really live, like, excitement that you'd get from a live event, And of course, I'm kind of biased because my experience has been like the Jiu-Jitsu World Championships, where you have GF team rooting for Adolfo, then you have the whole Checkmat team, stomping the stands at the pyramid. It's just loud, crazy environment, So it didn't really bother me. I actually kind of liked it. I guess there was some issues with the mat being a little bit smaller, I don't know. What did you guys think?
All right, here we go. So I think where I started was when I heard the audience clap for the first time, and Dave, I don't know if you've done stand-up comedy, but
No.
if you've ever done stand-up comedy to an open mic audience of like 5 to 10 people, and there's that weird stifled crap that happens at the end, where it's just kind of a, and that's the audience applauding.
It's the sound of tolerance.
Yeah.
It's just the sound of complete and utter tolerance.
That was kind of the feeling I felt these athletes got after, let's say, getting a submission. It was kind of Dave holding the camera really enjoyed that one, guys. He gave you a nice thumbs up.
Yeah.
And then occasionally you just felt like rude not cheering for them, so you just, woo! Good job, guys. That was a really good one. So part of me felt a little hurt because I would just say, like, guys, don't even fucking clap. Like, don't insult us. Great. He won. Done.
Yeah.
Or, on the other side, it felt like a game show to me where there was no audience, and I kept waiting for Boss to go up to them and be like, hey, Bing, Ba, door number 1 or door number 2? Which one do you want? Come here, Cornelius. You fought Hibero. Yeah? Okay.
Yeah. Maybe they can invest like in a clap track. Is there such a thing?
Well, anything's possible, Dave.
I was like,
If you-
yeah, it's CBS. It's how they stay relevant, I believe. That's what you're looking for. Laugh track for jiu-jitsu is not bad. That's what they were using for the drums. I agree. Major footnote. Okay, my other question, did it feel 7 years long to anyone else?
Yeah, but that's typical though, right? I mean,
Is it?
No,
I for sure
they do
stopped
feel long.
watching
Let's-
and had to finish it today.
let's be very clear.
oh wow.
We had to put a bookmark. I know the event started on May 9th.
I didn't have 7 hours.
Not
Like,
sure
I didn't
what
have
it
7
said.
hours to finish the damn thing.
Like, it's just weird to then, when you have prelims, we might as well just go live the entire time. But then they went to
Right.
pre-record in between, which makes you think, like, what? Oh my god, these
Yeah,
poor
that-
athletes.
see,
They
that
have
is-
to...
That I don't understand because the guys are like probably warmed up already, ready to go, and then they present us with Keenan Cornelius doing heel hook techniques for like 10 minutes, which is cool, but I kind of want to watch live jiu-jitsu, right?
I mean, let's be real. I've seen Jane Fonda video infomercials. That's what that felt like. Not to say that Keenan's seminar would be bad, but the placement of it, like, oh, let's see a commercial. Oh, is this the whole seminar?
Yeah.
They're just going to play the whole thing?
Can I also say I'm so pissed I got caught up on the road to Metamoris because they replayed the fucking finale right before the match. It was like, oh, well, okay, I guess I'll just go find something to do. Like, it doesn't count. Keep going. Isn't the whole point of no crowd
Kev,
that you
let's
can just
also
keep fighting?
talk about the fact that they say, here's who's on the card tonight. Oh, and guess who won? Road to Metamoris. Here's some footage, even though if you read, you already know it's kind of Jimmy, so congratulations, Jimmy. But watch this. It's great.
Andre Galvan.
Yeah, I mean,
the coach.
they could have just given us like a 30-second highlight of what happened in Road to Metamoris and presented it.
Or, you have a great idea here. Let's stay on this for a second. I like the idea of previously on Metamoris.
Yeah. But let me ask you guys, do you guys have an all-access membership?
Well, we do now.
Okay,
Well,
yeah,
we-
so
we
do
have
I.
one,
But
basically.
So my
We have a-
question was, those matches that were shown during the event, those were previously available, right, as an all-access member?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, see, that sucks.
Well, they also play exactly. Like, first of all, don't play it again. Like, fucking, are you joking? They also played the first. So there was only 5 total. They had played the first one for free, and our friend Travis Nawaza was in it. So we were like, oh, absolutely. I thought there would be a little bit more to it, and frankly, I had kind of like, I have a 3-month subscription that's gonna end soon with the Metamoris thing, and it was just like, okay, like. Not an unaffordable thing for like a seminar and online whatever, but I did not enjoy the no crowd angle. Like that to me was such a disappointing feature because it just really had some. It was too much commentary, and we were completely dead set on the commentary for it.
Yeah, that's actually a good point. And the commentary thing, I guess, is a whole different topic we can get into at some point. Right?
Well, why don't you get into it and we'll listen?
Yeah, right now. Yeah, why don't you talk about it right now? And we'll,
Not like we have one of the commentators on this episode, so you do what you need to do.
Well, I like Henner to a degree. I think he's very technical and he's very enthusiastic and obviously loves jiu-jitsu so much, but it felt like a little bit of a bait and switch to me. I felt, and I love Jeff. Jeff's funny. I think Boss is great in his element. But it was just kind of weird. Like all of a sudden it's Henner Gracie, and it's like Henner Gracie.
that in his element is a great. Sorry, go ahead. Keep talking.
Yeah. And then he just kind of went away after a while, which was weird too.
It occasionally seemed like Jeff prodded him to make sure he was still there. At one point, I thought Boss actually went to go run an errand. Like, you guys keep going. I gotta go cash this check. Boom, pow. So I thought that was kind of interesting. We have discovered that Bass was a last-minute addition. So that was an interesting wrinkle to be in all of this. But I think the weird part about it is, and I'll go with you on this. Henner got brought in the middle of a match where we clearly heard somebody, maybe Hollick, if I'm taking a guess, say something to the guys when they thought the mics were dropped. And then all of a sudden, here comes Henner. And it makes you wonder, like, why didn't they just have Henner up top? Why not make him a third commentator? Like, just do that. That would make things so much easier to follow. Because if you had just come in on the live stream, and you'd be like, oh, I thought it was just Jeff and Boss. Oh, well, I guess, whatever. Wait, why is Clark Gracie sitting down with them? What's happening?
Yeah. It was a little weird. You know it was weird because I was actually watching the show with headphones. So I could hear everything. I could hear like someone going mic check over and over and over again before he came on. I'm like, what is going on in the background? Who's this third person that I hear? They could have at least waited until like the match was over, right, to bring him on and then introduce him. But it seemed like an afterthought because Henner was wearing a Gracie Jiu-Jitsu shirt and obviously not wearing like a suit and tie like Boss and stuff. So like it was pretty obvious like that wasn't planned, right?
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's just part of Hollick's ideas to shake things up. It's just like, all right, guys, bonus round. Now you get a third commentator. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye. I hope that is exactly it. So, highlight of the night for me, I thought Shanji Keenan was great. No,
I liked it. I liked it. I thought it was awesome. I mean, two completely different styles of jiu-jitsu, right? I kind of predicted that neither of them would be able to finish each other. Those guys are just too good.
Yeah.
Well, Shanji has this amazing ability to just stay absolutely safe, and like he's just never in any danger. Even when you think like he almost got his back. No, he doesn't. It just doesn't happen.
Maybe we should make Shanji the next James Bond because those Hyper Die kind of promo shots of him with his arms crossed always seems like he's posing for a new James Bond film. And the fact that he's never in danger seems like it could go very well with that. Here's a problem, and I'll pose this to you guys. That was a great match, probably my favorite of the night. But we talk about a lot of ties happening in Metamoris. And is it partially because they pick people who are just so high level that they really, like you said, you kind of predicted it would be difficult for one to go over the other? Or is that part of the element of like, well, let's look and see what happens, and it's a byproduct of that?
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why there's so many draws in Metamoris. And I think specifically in this case, you have these two high-level guys that are just impossible to finish, right? And my thoughts were, I kind of want to see this match in the 10-minute IBJJF format because I want a winner. I want to know who's better, at least in that realm, right? How would that match go if it was no time limit. I mean, they could go 4 hours long probably, and it would just, I don't know. Or what would the match be like if it was like a 4-minute match, or they were in a tournament, or what if under EBI rules what would happen then? Yeah.
Well, okay, so I think that's a great discussion point. I want to move on to kind of a different realm, if we could, which is, so I don't know if you guys are paying attention to our good friend, Vinny Magalash, if you would. He definitely raised some heads this week when he said that there was nobody who was, in response to saying that, you know, Hiron, which, by the way, baller of him to step up, but that nobody else offered to step up. But then you have Vinny, who said, yeah, dude, I totally offered to step in, but I had Copa Podio, and I know a whole bunch of other people who would have stepped in. What do you make of that, Dave?
I think this has happened before, hasn't it? Wasn't that the same thing that happened when, who was it? Kevin Casey stepped in for some reason. He was the only guy. It was like the same story. Like, I've heard this story before. You know, I don't know. I mean, that's the story they're going to tell. I think would have been plenty of people who'd be willing to do it. Lots of people.
Well, according to Josh Barnett, there was nobody who would have stepped up to the challenge.
Well, they were having a real, like, self-masturbatory moment in those last 6 minutes.
You mean
so
when
it's hard to, like,
Boss was giving them the wrap it up single for like 3 minutes as they continued to bro out about jiu-jitsu?
/ not talking to the microphone?
Wow.
Because like they kept starting not into the fucking microphone. It was like, we can't hear you at all. Like, just so you know, like, no one can hear you. And there's no crowd. So you're not talking to anyone right now.
Yeah, what did you make of the last talk, I guess, between Bass and Josh and Hiron?
I hated it. I hated it.
Let's be very frank. You have to give it up for Hiron, whether you think it's not cool or not. I mean, it is cool that he stepped up.
What was the discussion? I don't dispute that, but that wasn't what the discussion was about. Like, that's just not what they were talking about for those last 5 minutes. They were talking about people sitting in a position for 4 minutes and what a travesty that was to the sport. And it was like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, so because you opened yourself up and got submitted, that's good? Like, I'm so confused what the message is here.
Where do I see that so often? I don't know. It's on the tip of my tongue. It's a place where people stall in long matches for 4-minute periods.
I can't remember who the person is that fought Andre Galvan that was like, that's my strategy, to not at all make a move. Like, I just can't. It'll come back to me, I'm sure. But what the was those last few minutes?
You know, and that was actually the point where I actually shut my computer off, to be honest. Like, it was over, and I was getting hungry, and I shut it off, and, you know, I noticed that, like, I couldn't even hear what they were saying, because they weren't even holding the mic, and I'm just like, it's kind of over, I can catch the rest later.
Because, Dave, let's be very clear, the amount of time that you didn't eat while watching Metamoris actually constitutes a hunger strike.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm saying it was long, people.
Yeah.
It was, so that's my big note. Like, I found a much more success watching it today, fast forwarding through all of the break.
Yeah.
Like, that to me was, I don't understand what was taking so long in between fights.
But that's, every Metamoris has been like that. I don't know why.
Yeah. Okay, but you can pitch me. When there's a live crowd, I get it. I get what I don't. I mean, do 2 matches, do 3 matches, and then take a break. But whatever, I get it. There's a live crowd. You don't want to. When there's no live crowd, what possible reason could you have for not going match?
I guess you could argue that you'd use an opportunity to sell you up on All Access, but I guess if you're watching, you already have it.
How did we?
What All Access thing? Like, it's not that much. Like, it's less than their YouTube page. Like, if we're just talking total content.
Well, if we are talking total content, it'd be like, guys, you can catch all the amazing actions from Metamoris 1, 3, 4, 5, not 2, definitely not 2, but 1, 3, 4.
2
and,
sucks.
And you guys love Keenan, right? He's a thing.
Hey,
look at him.
Keenan's teaching a seminar, and don't go to Keenan's website and pay the same amount for his website. Don't do that.
Absolutely not. We're virtual, and here's Jeff Glover and BT Dubs. Everybody, one more thing. Look at this. It's you guys like the Ultimate Fighter? We got one of those too, but like less episodes, and we don't actually show all the fights on Jiu Jitsu for some strange reason because it's too much work. You got one of those, so yay, Metamoris flicks.
Okay, Dave.
Metamoris flicks. Yeah.
Dave,
Trademark.
talk to me about the tweets on the screen. How did you feel about the tweets on the screen?
The tweets on the screen. Some of them were
Do you know what I'm
actually
talking-
questions. I remember that.
Yeah, I think that's the best response. Oh, yeah, that mild inconvenience while the thing was going on. Yeah, I remember I think I remember the tweets.
Well, Kev, I hate to interrupt you right now, but I actually I'm getting some Ask Metamoris tweets right now that were left over from yesterday that I thought maybe we could ask each other. I'm going to go ahead and present this over. First question over to Dave. It is from Matt Thompson. It says, "Why is Hiron's feet Simpsons yellow? Ask Metamoris."
That's actually funny. I actually noticed that. But that's how good the quality of the stream was. I can notice the color of your own feet.
Ooh, nice plug.
That's a definite calibration I do for all of my white balancing. All right, Kev, I'm going to put this one over to you. This one is from Pimped Butterfly. It says, "Can you guys smell Barnett's ball sweat?" Ask Metamoris.
Oh God, probably. Like, how could you not? Like, if you were, he's a big guy. He's working hard.
Bring this one over to you. It was actually way more truthful than not. Dave, this one says, "When Josh rips off Hiron's leg, will he hang it on his wall or use it as a lamp?" This one comes from Tech Warriors with a Z. So, what is that? Your opinion, Dave? Response?
Opinion on that? You mean like the lamp from A Christmas Story? That'd be awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If that helps you.
Okay, I'm going to go over to Kevin, which is indicative of a lot of, I guess, things that got tweeted at them. They weren't actually questions, so Kev, just respond, since this isn't a question, it's a prompt.
Perfect.
It says, "Chael needs to retire, not a good fighter, and a boring BJJ fighter." Hashtag Ask Metamoris from Isaiah Caveman Vicens.
Isaiah Caveman Vicens is right and right. What the Chael? Like, are you not at all interested in doing anything other than what you were doing? Like, not that Sabral was either, but fuck, that was boring. Chael is 2 for 2 on the not very interesting fights that ended and no one remembers.
Okay. This one's going over to Dave. This one's from John George. It says, "Hey, Jeff Glover, you have a mini muffin top. How do you feel?" LOL. Ask Metamoris.
Yeah. Wow. That was kind of awkward, right?
Well, Kev, what were your thoughts on the words muffin top?
It was just said so frequently, I felt like I was having a feminist moment where I was like upset for men's body standards.
Kevin, we're going to stay with you on this one, actually. I got a different
I
one.
shall be defined by the cushiness of my tummy.
There you go. Put that on a t-shirt. Kev, this one is from Peter. It says, "Does this event have to take a full 12 hours? Question mark. Hashtag Ask Metamoris."
Yes! The answer is indubitably, not only will they take 12 hours, but at the end, what was his name? What was the person's name?
That was just Peter.
At the end, Peter, they're going to reach inside you, paralyze you,
God.
make you watch the credits for a half an hour. Like, that's your reward after
Hold on.
sticking with this goddamn epithedral. This was like Gone with the Wind pre-edits. Fuck, it took forever.
I'm gonna go over to get back to Dave on this one. It says, hold on. The Highlander writes, "Will there ever be celebrity guest drummers?" Hashtag ask Metamoris.
Celebrity guest drummers. Well, Ricky Rocket is a black belt in jiu-jitsu and a drummer.
Yeah, that
Drummer
is
from
true.
Poison. That would be awesome.
Wow, no, you were prepared for that one. You've been waiting for somebody to ask.
I know. I was like, that was way too. Did he get these tweets ahead of time, Raph? How did he
Might
know
have.
this?
Yeah, no, I'm going to check some foul play. But Kev, speaking of getting tweets ahead of time, I wish you got this one ahead of time. This one's from Jeremy Brand. It says, "Does Henner Gracie ever sound like he's not whispering sweet thoughts to the ladies?" Hashtag ask Metamoris.
Yeah. Yeah, he does when he goes like violently up an inflection and becomes the AK-47 of aggressive whispering. He's like, "Oh, this is an amazing move right here. This is where he's going to totally get that leg and holds. Oh," and then he'll just disagree with someone and wrap it around. It's really impressive.
Yeah, okay, good. Dave, I've got this one for you. It says, this one's from Vinny Fernandez. It says, "This looks like a gay rodeo." Hashtag ask Metamoris.
Yeah. I wonder why they didn't put that on the screen.
That's
You know,
grappling.
the thing is, I'm reading all of these and I'm just like astounded. They just didn't make the cut.
I wonder why.
Kev, one I'm going to ask you in all sincerity, even though I'm not. This one's from Ryan Donnelly. It says, "Does Bass feel like he's watching himself fight Keenan? How would Bass deal with Wormguard?" Hashtag ask Metamoris.
Bass would get super confused and ask Keenan to wrap it up so they can go to the next segment. In about 2 seconds, he'd be like, "Keenan, how do you think the match is going?" And just cold cock him in the face. He'd be like, "Oh, guys, sorry. Bass did another clip back to where he thought he was fighting Pancreation in Japan in 92. Keenan's going to be fine in 6 to 8 months, but just no one touch or go near Bass for the next 20 to 30 minutes. It's unclear if he'll hit someone else."
No, that's very, very, very good. This one, Dave, your final question. I'll have one more for Kevin. Your question is from Harrison Adamo, and it says, hashtag ask Metamoris, "Where is Hanato Laranja?"
Do we need more of him? I don't know. I think we get enough.
Well, I'm sorry we couldn't answer that with more of an opinion, but we did the best we could.
Dave Contreras wins the Honesty Award for tonight's podcast. It was the hashtag Honesty Award.
I will say that was good, but okay, this one, this one's a good one. And Kev, I'll ask you this one because we were actually asking, and Dave, you can chime in on this. This one's from Signature Caker, which, okay, "Why no heel hooks in the gi, but okay, no gi?" Hashtag ask Metamoris.
What is that question?
Why
Why
no
heel hooks? Like,
Why no heel hooks in the gi, but
yeah. My head almost exploded when they said that rule. And you could even hear Jeff Glover kind of casually, those are the rules they agreed upon. It's like, yeah, absolutely. Okay, that makes complete sense to me. Those are the rules they agreed upon. But every match was like that. So is it a thing that they're doing? I was so confused by that. Makes no sense to me. Heel hook the shit out of anybody anytime. That's my motto, Raph.
yeah,
I
that's
agree.
that's you.
I think if you're going to have pro jiu-jitsu, like, heel hooks should be legal at all times. Gi or no gi.
Yeah. I that's really hard to justify. Though I did pose one thing to Kevin. What was the thing I told you, Kevin?
I don't remember. What did you tell me?
Jesus, God Christ. All right. I told Kevin, I was like, you know what? Maybe they just don't make enough money to really play that loose and risky. That was my best guess, is that why else at what you would consider a big spectacle of an event that you wouldn't just go all out and make those rules, all things considered, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
it is a submission only event, like why not make submissions legal?
Well, not only is it a submission only event, it's a submission only or will shame you if you stay in a position for more than 4 minutes event. Like, they were very clear about the parameters. Like, you better be doing shit constantly or you are a disgrace to the game. It's a lot to think about, Raf.
Well, yes. And, gents, for the both of you, this final question for the two of you guys, it is from Josh Wilms. It says, what kind of shampoo does Clark Gracie use? What about Bass Rutten? Hashtag Ask Metamoris.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, the internet, you're welcome, first of all, because we don't let things go unanswered here on the podcast. But what are your takeaways? I want to ask you this, Dave. You know, are there any kind of other things that stood out to you match-wise? I mean, I know we've talked a little bit about Josh and Hiron. We talked Shanji and Keenan. Those were really the highlight matches to me. There were a couple matches that dragged. If you are an audience member,
yeah.
I will say maybe you can figure out which ones those were if you're still with us of the living, because you might have died. But yeah, that's kind of where I was at. What are your overall thoughts?
You know, I like the Sinistro match, the first match. I like it a lot, actually.
Yeah, no, that was great.
Yeah, I watched it again today, and I thought it was awesome. Like, basically, from his first engagement, his final submission was connected to the very first movement that he made.
Yep,
So he jumped like this kind of triangle, held onto this omoplata, transition to this straight arm lock to, like, a traditional arm lock. It was all connected. It was beautiful. It was just a great display of jiu-jitsu.
And I thought that was so interesting because not only, like you're saying, it was all connected, but that's the kind of thing where it's not stalling because you know there's a patience that he's waiting for that move. Like,
Right.
it's a way more calculated version of it. So for me, I was like, no, that's the kind of thing I do want to see because who knows? Greg could have gotten out of that, and that would have been totally cool in its own right. But it was really cool to see how well he was holding it and made something of it. So, yes,
Right.
major process.
Yeah, and I've never seen that transition before, too, so it's something I'm asking to try and drill tomorrow.
Yeah, no shit.
But the thing is, I don't know much about his opponent. Do you guys know anything about, was it Greg McIntyre was his name? I had never heard of him before.
You know what? That would have been a great question for, Jeff, because with Dean, apparently he trains together, so that would have been really cool. But no, I wasn't as familiar with him. He looked familiar, like I've seen him compete, but I'm not going to lie to you and tell you, oh yeah, I've seen this guy forever. He was a little new to me, and it was kind of interesting. So yeah, that was a little different. But yeah, it's not like what is it? Female grapplers who have name recognition value for whatever reason, but couldn't be more exciting than.
I did see some of them in the audience, though.
What's that?
I did see a few of those female grapplers in the audience.
Well,
in a very small audience that they did have.
The very small audience that they did have. Yeah, that's, you know what? That's acceptance. That's where it happens right there. I'm sorry, I was interrupting your point. Go on.
No, that's it. Yeah, I didn't know anything about his opponent. I think maybe what made that match interesting, I'm not going to take anything away from Greg, but I think it was a little bit, maybe it might have been a little bit mismatched. Certainly there was a different age difference between the two. Tanisha's a regular. He's competing constantly, and he was just able to kind of just play his game, and for my entertainment, which I appreciate it.
Yeah, Sinistro's a badass. I watched him at the No Gi Pans a few years ago.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Yeah,
always fighting, too. Yeah, caliber of fighters, hard to argue with.
Mm-hmm.
Liked the gi, liked the gi, no gi combo.
Yeah. I also liked the Liero match.
Oh, yeah.
That was interesting, yeah. Maybe I know a lot of people will talk gi, no gi, the differences between the two. Is Are the prelims a good spot for gi matches? Maybe does that help offset? Some of those people are like, I don't want to see grip fighting.
I guess, but I'm a gi guy. I prefer watching the gi, so I would rather watch that than like Fun and Babalu, where the guys are all sweaty and stuff, and like nothing happens.
Whatever, man. They were MMA guys, and Chael really, he put it to him when he was just chilling in that. Oh, God, oh no, I'm so tired even thinking of it.
Ain't nothing but time and space between them, and that's about to be gone away.
Yep.
That's what he... If you guys are wondering what he said on his video that made it sound cooler than the fight could have ever been.
Kev, I'm going to ask you this since you have an opinion on it. Are we done with Chael and Metamoris? Do you really want to even see him back?
I genuinely think they might find out we don't. Like,
Do you think
what
that was
possible...
enough to convince them?
It wasn't... The first time it was fascinating because of all of his relevancy. It was not fascinating this time. It was just so boring.
And to have
Have
a
I lost it?
essential co-main event, if you would.
Well, it's like his stupid bullshit about how I'm the face of just like, Joe, you're a joke. Like, you don't even try a heel hook. Like, it's embarrassing. Like, you should really... Do you have a purple belt? Like, in what? Like, what are you doing?
Do you guys think that strategy works of trying to bring in famous MMA guys to sell a Jiu-Jitsu pay-per-view?
No, I don't think so, because whatever they're paying Chael cannot be worth it. Like, it gets some eyeballs, but if you try and convince me a third time, unless you have somebody that's a great matchup for him, like, let's say you pull Anderson Silva out of your hat, which never would happen. Yeah, sure, I'd see that. But if you're pairing up against just random other jiu-jitsu competitors to prove the MMA versus jiu-jitsu component, let's put that on the preliminary card.
Yeah. I don't think it's bringing in this big MMA crowd that they're expecting.
Well, not this time. I think they might have gotten a look-in audience when he was fighting Andre Galvao, and he was also a contender in the UFC.
Mm-hmm.
He's so not that. Like, he went so the opposite direction, and it's just... it was bad. Like, and also, what is going on with Sorrell? It's like, okay. Awesome. But this happens. Like, this was also kind of their de facto old guy match. That they don't normally do. Or that they do normally do. Like, this is their old guy match.
Right.
Yep.
So we might not see Chael again. I'm just saying. They keep going through legends, putting them out to pasture. And Dave, give us some final notes. Wrap us up on Metamoris. Fucking 6? Is that what was the number?
I think it was 6 and 7 is what they're counting it as.
6 and 7, 13.
Mm-hmm.
I can just say that I liked it. I enjoyed it. I still think, though, that they need to make some changes to make it more submission-oriented. Because they like to preach that it's submission-only. But I don't think they've had an event yet that's gone more than 50% submission rate in an event, right?
Oof, don't even go that high.
I don't think so. I think they should also just listen to what the fans have to say. Because I think after every event, we kind of keep hearing the same thing over and over. The same complaints. Like, so much time between matches, not enough submissions. Some matches are so boring. I think there are solutions to that. But I think they need to kind of listen to what people are saying. And it feels like they don't listen because you kind of keep seeing the same things happen, repeatedly. I think that their venture into this kind of online thing, and I think that's kind of a gamble for them. I guess it's we'll wait to see if it pays off or not. I'm not totally convinced that paid professional jiu-jitsu on this level is sustainable. I hope it is, but they've received so much negative attention in the last few weeks that I don't know. We'll see. I hope there's another one. It's kind of fun.
They'll have another one. They're going to be too stubborn to not, like, even if they were losing money, they'd be like, Metamoris 7 in Hulk's garage.
They already have the place, though. Didn't they buy it?
Yeah. So what's next for them? Do they start filming Road to Merit Bars 2?
Well, okay, because we didn't even bring this up, but Kev, you can tell me if I'm right or wrong on this. Did we know if it was live or not? Like, for all I could have been told, that thing could have taken place a week ago. And it's just, like, it's weird, just, again, without the audience, without any kind of real, aspects of it. So, like, let's make it live, but no audience, and just put it on, and yeah, things are happening now. Like, some of that could have been what we like to call in the industry live to tape. So, I don't know. It's just a weird fucking thing. So, when you're talking about revamping and fixing things, I just feel it's kind of one of those things where, yes, listen to your audience, listen to what they want, because we don't get the impression you do. So, when you have a thing called Ask Metamoris, I hope you continue to use that idea for more than just jokes and backhanded compliments to yourself, because that's what it felt like. It felt like at certain times they were using that hashtag to be like, oh, hey guys, enjoying the show. It's awesome. Well, cool. Great. Kevin and I will start reading tweets about people who enjoy us throughout the podcast, which will mostly be family members.
I'm going to start on it. Just tell me what the hashtag is, and I'll start on it tonight. I'm just going to pound it over and over and over.
Yeah.
Awesome. Ask Verbal Tap.
Verbal Tap is genius.
Hashtag Ask Verbal Tap. Well, Dave, you're a delight. Where can people find you outside of just, running up to Budo videos and saying, where's Dave?
I just can't keep people off me. Instagram probably the best. At Budo Dave, easiest. And I guess I'm on Twitter too, but I don't really use that a whole lot. Instagram's the way to go. Can I plug something really quick since I'm here?
Do it. Plug it. Yeah.
Wait, hold on, Kevin. Don't give him the free reign.
Oh, okay.
How much
hold on. Let me talk to Raph for a second.
Yeah, exactly. How much of a cut are we getting from that? Because if it's less than 20%, the answer is definitely.
He's mostly joking.
Obviously,
plug
I'm
away.
joking.
Go ahead.
Yeah, plug away.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Okay. Just want to say, Jiu-Jitsu World Championship streaming live on ibjjftv.com. Budo Videos is behind the production of that. And if you guys are tuning in, we'd love to see you guys there. That's pretty much it. How's that?
That's awesome. And now we know what our next mock event that we get to mock the production and quality of will be. So we're already looking forward to it.
I totally want to hear it because there's so many interesting things that happen. And I'd love to kind of talk about it too.
I think we can make those things happen. We're quite accessible. That's the best part about us. We're like, we'll talk shit about stuff, but we're not hard to find.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'm okay with that. I'm open to that.
Awesome.
Cool.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dave Contreras.
It gets so serious at the end, Kev.
I don't know. I was just going with a Henner vibe. That's what I was trying to say.
Oh, hey, everybody, real quick. I just want to go ahead and say 4 different things. Dave Contreras is actually one of the best commentators out there. But I'd also like to go ahead and talk a little bit about Gracie Jiu Jitsu because this is very interesting. What Dave is doing right now is he is going very, very silent, as if the show has come to an end.
Gotten the other 3 so far?
Yes, I was getting everything you had sent to me and all.
Okay, sweet. Just want to make sure they're going through. All right, let's do bottom, and I have it recording now.
Oh, Raph Esparza, what a podcast. What a time to be doing JJ and just being a part of this changing world. It's a spinning,
Do
it's
you
a
often say doing JJ?
No, I don't. No, I don't know how to say it. It's
so weird.
It unspooled a few minutes ago, and it just never came back.
Yep.
But, thus the story of my performance career. Am I right?
Yep.
Hands up. Can't stop, won't stop. What an episode. Big thanks to Jeff Glover. Big thanks to Mike Hofer. Big thanks. I really enjoyed Dave.
Did
Raph,
you?
I
Oh,
can't
okay.
believe you said I wasn't going to. I thought
I believe my exact
Contreras
words were,
great.
Kevin, he's smarter than you.
Oh, that's not how I remember it. You were like,
No.
you're going to dislike him. He's going to be hard to
I'm gonna
talk
be like,
to.
oh no, Kevin, he's going to say words that you don't understand. It's going to be really hard to follow full sentences being uttered. Yeah, that's pretty much along the lines.
Yeah, okay. Well, as long as we're all just honest.
People hear two different sides to every argument.
Everybody does. That's how Second Amendment rights are so strongly advocated. And that's going to take us to shout-outs tonight, Raph. I'm going to start it out to the crew. Had a great Saturday class with Andrew and Brian. Andrew was, we were doing some different types of rolls. So, like, the first one was 10 minutes, no submission. So Andrew and I nearly died from heat exhaustion due to the humidity coming in. And just, it's like both of us tend to be a little bit more submission oriented. So doing just no submission is crazy. So a lot of good stuff going on. Some good game critiques. Loving my Kawaii kimono for the hot training days. Like, as such right now where the air feels like a ton of bricks. So that's just going to be a little shout out. Think about those light summer geese. And drifting towards no geese season, Raph. This guy's excited.
Drifting? Are you on a boat casually sailing towards?
Drifting casually. And the Brit and the Bumpkin podcast I got to go do because, I do comedy and I do this little podcast and I've been doing this little podcast for a while. You and I are like the podcast, we get a little vet in us. Like
We've seen a lot of wars here, Kev.
Yeah. We
The
made
War of
it.
Metamoris 6.
The podcast surge and soonering of 2014. And that's going to do it for me.
I would like to go ahead and shout out first everybody at Valley Martial Arts Center.
Metamoris drum back.
So I was a little nervous today because, with all the Mother's Day stuff and the, family getting together, I wasn't actually going to get to train today, which, as you know, Kevin, is death to me. And
Might as well tie him down and just waterboard him for a few minutes. Same basic.
Yeah. So I was pretty pissed about it. And then lo and behold, I got a note from our good friend John Budd, who said they were going to open up VMAC this morning for 8 a.m. training.
VMAC.
And I said, well, thank God. That is going to save my day. So I went to go do that. And Kev, I've been called a lot of things in my jiu-jitsu career. Okay?
Yeah.
But today...
Incompetent. Not that talented. Slower learner. Hey, other guy. You big head. Just to name a few.
Those are all true, except for hey, other guy. Kevin usually gets that one. But I like that you tried to return that joke at me as if, like, I didn't create it. But that's neither here nor there. No. Today, I was about to start rolling, and somebody goes, oh, that's Raph. Yeah. No, man. It's going to be a rough time for you. And I was like, that's not true. Like, whatever. And he's like, no, Raph's captain defense over here. And I go,
ooh.
And I thought of it. I was like, I don't know how I feel about that.
Captain D.
I guess
That's
so.
a compliment.
I
Captain
don't know.
defense.
Is it, though? I don't know.
Yeah, it's also Captain Annoying guy to roll with. Because it's like, I was trying to triangle you. Why are we being such a dick about it?
Well, first of all, nobody wants to get choked. So I think question answered. And second of all...
did you see Heat on Speech? Raph, everyone wants to get choked. That's how you win.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I must never learn. I don't... it was just weird. And I didn't know how to feel about it. I've never had, a nickname in jiu-jitsu. And I was kind of hoping I'd get something better. But...
And Captain
Defense.
Defense.
You know what I mean? And the best part is the guy who said it to me, I will say this. I don't say a lot of terribly great things about my jiu-jitsu. But when somebody calls you Captain Defense, what do you think you're going to do?
Unite your powers to fight crime.
Well, yes, me and Captain Defense and Sergeant Justice over here, which is now, I guess, my name for Kevin, which is our Cop 70s show.
Sarge, he's got a mustache and a questionable relationship with women.
Right?
Yeah.
So, I basically, I stopped it for a second. I just went nothing but attacks on him, and he was just like, "What happened to Captain Defense?" And I was like, "Well, I don't know, man. You asked for it. That's all you want." So I can't say that happens a ton, but yeah, all right. Captain Defense for today. We'll go from there. But I want to thank our buddy Brian Novak, who's always a fucking good time. And I actually laughed a lot when he called me Captain Defense. You know what the hard part is? You know when you start laughing at a joke right before you're rolling, and it just carries over, so that even as you're like starting the roll, you're just laughing because you're like, oh man, that was so funny. Oh, they're trying to choke me now. I should probably do something. Captain Defense to the rescue.
Ew.
So I want to thank him. I also want to thank our good friend, man, this is so cool, Jeff Jenny, who's over at VMAC. Really, really good stuff. He did really well at a recent tournament, so props to him. I want to say props to our good friend John Evans, Jeremy Romero, and our good friend Eddie, who, my God, we had one of the best nights of training I think I've had in a good time. Just a whole hour and change, maybe an hour and 20's worth of rolling straight. And it was good. It was super helpful. And those guys, man, did they help my game so much. But I want to say thank you to those guys. Thank you, big in part, to our good friend Jeff Glover, who found the time to chill and talk with us. We've always liked Jeff, and I got to say, I really appreciated him giving a nice shout-out to Women's BJJ a while on the ones and twos. It was nice that he did that. But I got to say one thing, Kev. You know what that is?
Go America?
Now, I was going to say, do you still sense something in Jeff's voice that, like, he still feels bad losing a dance-off against me? Like, do you detect that still in his voice?
I can certainly sense an underlying tone that he doesn't want to talk about it, but that he feels it.
Right. No. I mean, I just try not to bring it up a lot.
Well, you're a class act like that. Like, you wouldn't want to bring up, like, you know.
I wait till the end of the podcast to bring it up because that's the kind of classy Jen I am.
Yeah.
So my thanks to Jeff, and let's go ahead and shout out my new employers, First Slice. Yay, that's right, folks. I'm now writing for a cool listicle and microblogging site called First Slice, and I'll be doing some sports articles and some other fun stuff. So I would highly encourage you guys to check us out. We're trying to do really, really fun social media content, and I will be covering the sports beat. So if you hear a few mentions about MMA, share it. Help a brother out here.
That's right. Rafa Esparza at secondscoop.com doing the stuff.
Oh, man. I'm gonna punch you in your face, Kevin.
What was that? I'm sorry. Oh, no, I'm sorry. Rafa Esparza, thirdpiece.com. You can, every Thursday, he's doing the weeklies.
The weeklies? Is that what you're calling it? What the fuck's wrong with you? Ladies and gentlemen, I think that's time for us to call it a day. Thank you guys so much. We hope you enjoyed this very, very special edition of Verbal Tap talking about Metamoris and our good friends at the Equality in the Park for Jiu Jitsu in the Park.
Gonna do it for us tonight here at Verbal Tap. I'm Kevin. Thanks for listening.
Good night and boom, pow, Cornelius. You know, it's my secret goal now that every time we end the show to try and really crack up Kevin.